Hi everyone, it's Sam from Sitemate. In this video, we're going to look at using the lists section for managing lists of cost codes. And what's unique about cost codes is we typically want to have a different list of cost codes on each of our projects. So while we might have the same templates used on each project, we might want to have a different drop-down list of values for cost codes on this project, and then a different list again for this project, and a different list again for this project folder, and so on and so forth. So this is possible inside of Dashpivot, but there are a couple of steps involved, and we're going to cover those in this video. What we won't be covering is how to initially create a list and link that to a template. We've already covered that in a separate video in our lists overview video, so I'd suggest giving that a watch if you haven't seen it already. But so far in this video, in this account, we've set up a list of cost codes. You can see that here. It's in our list library. And in our template library, we already have some templates that are referring to our list of cost codes. And the way it's set up so far actually is fine if you want to use this list of cost codes across every single project. So the list of cost codes to choose from, at the moment, we just have all of these values here. And it doesn't matter what project or team folder that you're in, we're always going to use the same set of cost codes. So if that's the way that you run your business, that would be the best way to set it up. But if you work in a business where you want to have a subset of values or use different values entirely on each of these projects and the team folders within those projects, then what we need to do is utilize the deployment feature. So the way that this works is when we go back to the list section and we see all of our lists, you can see here for our list of cost codes, we need to select it and click this Manage Deployment button. That's going to pull up a list of all of the different project folders that we have in our account. And here you can see we have those same projects that we saw in the sidebar. So I'm going to select all three of these projects. And what it means is once we click Save, Dashpivot is going to deploy a child version of this list of cost codes into these project folders. And then what we'll do after that is go into those project folders and actually create the list of values that we want to refer to. We can either create entirely new values or we can use the existing values that we have in this list. So let's run through the steps. So we're going to select all three of these projects and click Save Changes and close that pop-up. Now, if we then went into any of these team folders and started to fill out any of our templates that referred to that list of cost codes, we'd have a problem. It would be the drop-down list would come up empty. And this is because we now need to go into each project folder and populate the child list. So if we go to this project folder here, the Sydney Highway Upgrade 1, click on that. We need to head to the Lists section. And because we've deployed our list of cost codes, we can see that it appears here. So we can see it says cost codes. We know that it's deployed because it has this little information icon. And if we hover on it, it tells us that this is a deployed list. So the creation of the list is actually managed in our list library in our home folder, but the values that we want to add to this child version of that list, to which all of these team folders, any of the templates in these team folders can then refer to, we need to populate in here. So you can see no items currently exist in this list, so we need to click on it and start to populate the list items. Now there's two options. So we click Add Item, and we can start to type in the name of our cost codes and we can enter them in one by one. But if the name of that cost code actually already exists in the parent list, which is the one that we see at the home folder level, it will show up here and we can just select that. So in this case, if we're doing some admin, we can select that. If we have something else, which might be admin external, we can type that in and add that as a new list item. So we just click this button, add, and then what we've called this list item. and it will add this to this list. Now, it's important to note that any new list items that we add, so in other words, we're not selecting from the drop-down list of existing list items, it's going to add that list item to our parent list, which sits in our home folder. So if we went back to the list library and clicked on the cost codes list, we would now see this new value, this 1001 admin external list item. And what's great about this is that any other project can choose to add in this cost code now into their project. So it means that you don't end up with duplication between different projects unnecessarily. And so we would just repeat this process for all of the different cost codes that we want to add in. And we would just go through them sort of one by one. There is a quick way to import an existing list if you already have one, let's say in Excel or Google Sheets or another software. You can just click this button here to run an import. Just make sure that the file that you're importing is a CSV file and not an Excel file. As long as it's a CSV, we'll be able to import that and it will auto-populate all of the list items in here. Once that's been done and you've populated the list items into the child list, which sits within the project folder, then any of these team folders within that project, any templates that you have inside of those team folders, if they refer to that list of cost codes, then they will see only these values. They won't see all of the values that we saw in the home folder. They'll only see a subset of those values, which in this case is these 3 values. But of course, you'd have way more than this if you're setting this up with your cost codes. And we will just repeat this process for each of these other projects that we've set up, just to make sure that those also have their own subset of cost codes to refer to in their respective team folders as well. So that's how you can use the list section for managing cost codes and having a different set of cost codes to refer to in each of your project folders. I'd highly recommend checking out our video on list deployment, which runs through all of the steps relating to the list deployment feature. We've run through a few of them in this video. That video on list deployment can be found in our tutorial section on the Dashpivot website. We also have other videos covering other features and use cases, so feel free to check that out. But if you get stuck or have a specific question, you can always reach our live chat team on the website via this button, and we have the live chat available in the Dashpivot app as well. So I hope that this video has been useful, and thanks for watching.